I'm in the darkness of the parking garage, trying to find my face. There's my face, just barely seen in the glare of these lights, which I guess automatically come on whenever I'm in a dark area. So, those are the aesthetics for this video. Like it or leave it. Whatever. I don't care. I'm going to talk about the latest assassination attempt on Trump. And I guess it wasn't just on Trump. I guess it was also on whoever he could take out. According to his quote-unquote manifesto, I guess, and then I heard people saying, no, don't call it a manifesto. That's too that romanticizes it too much. I've never heard that before. I've never heard calling it a manifesto is romanticizing it or is dignifying it too much but whatever, call it whatever it is. His explanation for why he was doing what he was doing. Essentially, now if we believe the official story, if it happened as it was reported to have happened, and it seems to me at least, I mean, so shoot me, no pun intended, but shoot me, but I find it plausible, just like I found the official story of Charlie Kirk plausible. There it made sense to me that some guy who had who had a male lover, a trans male lover, or I guess whatever you call yourself, whatever your pronouns are when you grew up with a penis, but you've decided you're a girl, then and the guy who's going out with you is whatever. Are you his boyfriend or his girlfriend? I don't know, whatever. But it made sense to me that somebody like Charlie Kirk, who would upset a lot of people, including the trans activists, who, as we have seen, are prone to violent assaults. Often, there have been several cases of that. So it didn't really, I didn't really see too many reasons to be skeptical about the official story of Charlie Kirk, as I've said before in videos that I've recorded before. I didn't see anything particularly suspicious about, the fact that he took the shot, that he was able to take the shot where he took the shot, allegedly, and it wasn't. It was a shot that somebody who had hunting experience could make from that distance. It wasn't a difficult shot. Charlie Kirk did not have, he did not have major security detail. He was a soft target. He went to college campuses everywhere with a bunch of college students in close proximity who hated him, who hated his guts and probably wanted him dead. As we saw afterwards, with how many of those those sickos were celebrating his assassination. So yeah, I didn't find it implausible. I know others disagree. I still don't find it particularly implausible. I'm not married to that. I'm not saying I couldn't be convinced otherwise, but I tend to believe the official story of the FBI on this one. Now, with this guy, this is assassin. The guy was just some seemingly mild-mannered, biracial, but no violent history. From a good home, from an intact home. He had a history of sort of a nerd. He went to Caltech, sort of a nerdy, computer techie kind of guy. Um, and but he was also doing a little bit of tutoring. So I guess he wasn't. He was 31 years old. He was single and still living with his parents in a fairly nice home in Torrance, California, which I think is a fairly affluent suburb of Los Angeles. No real warning signs about this guy. Or he's not. He doesn't fit the profile of what you would think a dangerous killer would be, and yet I guarantee, I bet you anything, he was one of those people who was uh, recording himself ghoulishly laughing at how beautiful it was when Charlie Kirk, when the bullet hit Charlie Kirk and the blood splattered everywhere. You know, I don't know if he recorded a video, but he seems to be of the sort who were around this type of person, who were in that clique, I shouldn't just call it a clique. It's a fairly large group of people. And I commented on this at the time. There were, it was very disturbing to me how people from all walks of life, seemingly successful people, seemingly people who had it together, not just, not just dead end types, not just the types that you would think of as, what the Antifa typically is, not just, a bunch of pink-haired weirdos, with a history of violence, but people who were who had jobs and who seemed to have were paying off their mortgages and seemed to be holding it down in life, and but they have like that. That was what I was saying. There's this fifth column among us that has just this I'm tempted to say demonic hatred of anything that goes against their ideology, anything and anyone. They villainize such people and think it's funny when they die, and think it's funny when their families are left alone, when their wives are made into widows and their children are fatherless, and these were the things that they were saying. And that was one of the more sobering realizations that I had, that these were my quote unquote countrymen, and they were doctors and nurses and teachers and professors and various other things. Again, they weren't just living off the dole and marginal types with clear, mental problems or anything like that. This guy seems to the alleged assassin in this particular case seems to fit right in. Cole. I remember his name is Cole. I don't remember if that's his first name or his last name. I'll just call him Cole. Either I'm, being overly familiar by calling him by his first name or just calling him by his last name, but whatever. I'm not going to look it up right now. So Cole just gets it in his head. He's not going to take it anymore. He's going to do something. And he was in communication, I think, with a sister, and told her that he had purchased some weapons. And interesting now that some of the left is pro Second Amendment now. That's an interesting. I don't know whether that's progress or not, but it's interesting. It's interesting to note. They're in favor of having weapons available to them. And if they were doing it to protect themselves, that would be great. I would be all for that. Unfortunately, they seem to be using it for other things, which are not so great. So the official story is Cole, this 31-year-old, seemingly fairly mild-mannered, albeit very leftist oriented, very kind of a firebrand, he's a churchgoer, but he argues that we can't just turn the other cheek all the time. Sometimes we have to take action. My understanding is that he understood himself as some kind of Christian, but saw Trump and his administration as a legitimate target, and he wanted to take out as many of them as he could. So what did he do? He traveled in style on Amtrak. I mean, it's kind of funny. Amtrak is a pretty crappy way to travel, unless you get a sleeper car. Then it's all right. I mean, it's better than taking a bus. I'll say that for it. But I imagine going all the way from L.A. to Washington, D.C. via Amtrak is, if you don't have if you just have a seat, that's got to be kind of brutal. But he did it, and he brought his guns with him. He brought a couple of guns and I think a knife. It's just like he's just Travis Bickling out. He's going to build that little thing that like Travis Bickle had where he holds out his hand and like a little lever swings, or like some device puts the knife slides along this thing and comes into his hand. He was going to do that, I guess. No, he just had a knife and a couple of guns, I guess a pistol and a long gun. And it's true that I don't know if it's true at every Amtrak stop, but I remember when I went to Washington, D.C., I was initially flying, but then my flight was canceled because there was a freak ice storm in Savannah, Georgia at that time, where I was flying from. So instead, I hopped on an Amtrak train, took the train up from Savannah to Washington, D.C. And, there's no checking in of bags. You just walk on with your bags, and there's no one looks at them. They don't go through a scanner. It's not like at the airport where they scan everything. So conceivably, he was able to just make that whole ride with his guns, and the rest of his luggage, and nobody bothered him. And then he got a room at the Hilton, where the event was, where the White House press conference was going to take place, and he seemingly checked in one day early. And because he was a guest at the hotel, he says in his letter / manifesto / whatever you want to call it, the last thing that he wrote before the attempted shooting, he said he was kind of laughing about how lax they were, how little security there was. And that gives one pause a little bit, but anyway, to continue, he said that if he just showed up that day, and wasn't a guest, then that would be different. But because he was a guest at the hotel, he had his run of the place, and then on the night of the event, just before the event was started, when everybody was there, Trump was there, J.D. Vance was there, a couple of other people from Trump's cabinet were there, the press corps were there, and it was the first time that Trump was taking part in this event. Caroline Leavitt, his spokeswoman, the White House spokeswoman, said that there were going to be shots fired. Shots were going to be fired, and by that she said that a few hours before the event, and by that she meant, one thinks, that Trump wasn't going to hold back, that he was going to go at the press with both barrels and tell them exactly how he felt about them. But of course, some people say, was that like not predictive programming, or was that just like a wink wink? Was there, the whole idea, the notion, which I know probably some people watching this have, which is that it was all faked, and that this guy was just an actor, and that they all knew it was faked, and they were just playing along. Again, I have to see a little bit more evidence of that before I can. It's like there's a lot of people who would have to be in on that, for that to be the case. It's possible, but I'm going to go with the official story until I hear something that really, really makes me think to challenge the official story. And if anybody out there has something that you think is a worthwhile challenge to the official story, then by all means, let me hear it, or send me your links or whatever, because I'm open to that idea. Anyway, when evening comes, Cole, stacks. He gets armed. He gears up. He goes to the gate outside where I guess the ballroom where at the Hilton where they're having this event, and he just runs past. There's security footage of him just running past the Secret Service at the initial entrance, and they turn around and run after him. Apparently, he shoots one Secret Service man in the chest, but the Secret Service man is fine because he's wearing a bulletproof vest. Fires a bunch of other shots that apparently don't hit anyone. The estimate is, I think, somewhere between 5 and 8 shots are fired. I don't know whether, I guess the Secret Service probably fired at him. They were they were in pursuit of a man who was opening fire, running trying to obtain access to the room where President Trump and his vice president and many of the cabinet members were, and of course, you would think that would be a situation where it's, take this guy out, but instead they don't shoot him. They don't end up shooting him. They just apprehend him and restrain him, put him on the ground, put him on the floor. You've probably seen the picture of him face down into the carpet. That's a cool picture. It's because you see his face, and they've removed his shirt. I guess because they're looking for all the places that he might be. They're searching his body for where other weapons that he might have, and that sort of face down in the carpet pic just kind of says it all. It's sort of a portrait of a failure. Of a man who tried and failed to do any kind of damage, although he did cause a lot of panic. He didn't end up hurting anybody. He didn't end up killing anybody, or even seriously injuring or injuring anybody at all. Like I said, the one man that he reportedly did hit was protected by his vest and was okay, but there was panic in the ballroom. One of the funniest things I saw interviews with people who were there in the ballroom. One of the funniest interviews that and you've got to see it, is with Dana White, the UFC, I guess the president of UFC. And he was like, yeah, they came in and they told us to get under the table. I didn't get under the table. They came in with their guns, and there was panic, and man, it was awesome. He was just like, he was on an adrenaline rush. He was like in the middle of this event, and he was just, yeah, all right, something's going on here, some action. Um, but everybody else, all the other press people that they interviewed were like, "Oh, we were so terrified," and blah blah blah. Which I don't begrudge them being terrified. I imagine I would have been terrified had I been there too. But Dana White, he's something else. That was pretty funny that he had the reaction that he did. So that's what happened, and this is the third. We can call this, an assassination attempt. I think this is a legitimate assassination attempt at Trump, and so it's the third time that this has happened. Going back to the Butler incident, I talked about that when it went down. I fully believe that there was an effort to take Trump out. It was part and parcel of what was going on at the time. The uniparty, the political establishment, didn't want Trump to be in the race, and it was pretty clear that they were the idea was to take him out. I know there's some people who think it was a fake assassination and there was no real blood, but I don't tend to believe that. And that the guy that died didn't really die, and whatever. I find it more plausible that it was an actual event, that the young guy, for whatever reason, because they wiped out his history. The only thing we know about him, the young guy who did it, is that he was in a BlackRock commercial. There was that. There was what was his name? Brendan Routh, something Routh, the guy who was really into Ukraine and thought that if Trump was elected that he would pull out the funds from the Ukraine enterprise. And so he went to the Mar-a-Lago golf course and had his rifle set up and everything, but they chased him. They saw him and chased him away. And now a man rushes into the anteroom outside of the ballroom at the Washington Hilton, where the DC press corps was going to meet with Trump and other members of his White House for correspondence dinner. And that correspondence dinner has I think been postponed. I think they're still wanting to do it sometime, but it didn't happen that night. So, but Cole is still alive and well. Probably not all that well, because he's probably going to be, I imagine, in prison for hopefully a really long time. He makes it clear that he's what he wanted to do. So this is very clearly an attempted mass murder. He didn't succeed, but the fact that he actively attempted a mass murder, and it's there, and he says he openly admits to it in his last letter to everybody. Then that means you're probably not gonna see much relief from that. So here we have it. And I don't know what uh, conclusions to draw from this. I know the way that people are talking, the way that certain people are talking about it is, oh, this is just another staged event. Um, and again, maybe, but I have to be more I can't just buy that you know uh, that some an assassination that it didn't really happen, or that didn't really almost happen. I just can't. I can't just immediately go to that. I mean, I'm open to it because anything is possible, and because we are lied to all the time. And I don't think they're above staging events. I think they have done it in the past, and probably will do it in the future. But was this one of those occasions? I just have I have my doubts. But it is the third time. I wonder if anyone, if there's been any president who's had this many assassination attempts, over the course of the time that he's been in office, or running for office, or three times is the third time is usually the charm, according to the cliche. But this the third time was not the charm. Will there be more attempts? Well, there is this atmosphere of there is this attitude amongst many on the left, that says if you're not with us, you're worthy of death. From Trump on down, if you're not one of us, and we end your life, you deserved it. This is the mentality of a lot of these people. It honestly is, and I wish it weren't. I wish that were hyperbole, but it's really not. And there's a lot of people who believe exactly what I have just said. So it seems at first blush, anyway, that Cole is one of those kinds of people. A seemingly mild-mannered, seemingly nice guy, smart guy, doing okay in his life. Nothing tempestuous happening in his life, but he's just agitated about politics. He goes to the No Kings event, and is part of some group. I can't remember what they're called. Some angry leftist group. And apparently just conceived this idea all on his own, to go all the way across the country to the other, from coast to coast, in an effort to try to take out as many people in the Trump cabinet as possible. So what do y'all think? Leave me your thoughts below.